This is Inside Indiana Business Radio for the afternoon of Wednesday, January 28th, 2026. I'm Abrianna Herron. Shares in Elevance Health fell 14% on Tuesday and again slightly in pre-market trading Wednesday, following a proposal from the Trump administration to limit federal payments to government insurance plans, known as Medicare Advantage, next year. But the stock was rebounding Wednesday morning after the company announced mixed fourth quarter results and projected 2026 profits would be below analysts' estimates. During the fourth quarter earnings call, Elevance CEO Gail Boudreaux said the company would continue to take a disciplined approach and position with its Medicare book following the Medicare advance notice.
The advance notice is effectively flat, and quite frankly, it just doesn't keep pace with the current medical cost and utilization trends, and that does create real pressure on benefit stability and affordability for seniors.
This notice will mean barely any increase for Medicare insurers that have seen profits squeezed by rising care expenses and what many call insufficient funding from the government. The preliminary rates need to be finalized in the months ahead, leaving room for them to improve. Trine University has named its current executive vice president as the university's next leader. Tony Klein has worked at Trine since 2013 and served in multiple roles. He will replace President Earl Brooks II, who is retiring from the role but will serve as university chancellor. The Indiana Senate passed a bill on Wednesday aimed at building a stadium for the Chicago Bears in Northwest Indiana. Senate Bill 27 creates the framework for a stadium deal with the NFL franchise by establishing a public body that can issue bonds, acquire land, finance capital improvements, and enter into leases with private entities. The legislation represents Indiana's bid for the Bears, who have been publicly considering moving their games out of Illinois due to frustrations over the lack of movement on a deal for a proposed stadium in Chicago suburb Arlington Heights. The bill passed with a 46-2 vote. Inside Indiana Business Radio on Demand is made possible by the following.
Thanks for listening to this IBJ Media podcast. You're probably going to remember this ad. Do you know why? Podcast advertising works. 85% of listeners recalled hearing an ad during a podcast, and 70% of podcast listeners have acted after hearing an ad. So whether you're looking to be heard across the entire IBJ Media Podcast Network, sponsor one of our shows, or just start with a 30-second ad, IBJ Media can help. Contact advertise@ibj.com to learn more.
2 monthly discussions for area CEOs and senior executives have been quietly building in the South Bend Elkhart region over the past 2 years. It's part of a national network that connects business leaders facing similar challenges in different industries. Operating under the Vistage brand, the groups represent the organization's first presence in St. Joseph, Elkhart, and Marshall counties in Indiana and portions of Berrien County in Michigan. Nancy Osanowski chairs one of the groups and runs Roundtable Consulting. She said, for CEOs, particularly those running small companies or family businesses, formal support structures are often absent, and that isolation shapes how many leaders make decisions.
When you are the CEO, you don't have a lot of support. It's kind of lonely. You're making decisions sometimes in a vacuum. Where do you go to also sometimes say, I don't know. I don't know what the answer to that is.
About 20 executives now participate in the 2 groups, which meet separately once a month for full-day peer coaching sessions. Legislation aimed at boosting residential construction and home ownership has won Indiana House approval, despite concerns about limits it would place on local authority over House regulations. House members voted 76-15 on Tuesday in favor of House Bill 1001, advancing it to the Senate for action. Provisions of the bill target housing affordability by limiting local zoning regulations and streamlining approvals for new residential development. It would prohibit local officials from actions such as imposing requirements on exterior design elements of homes unless a city or county adopts an ordinance to opt out of the limitation. I'm Abrianna Herron for Inside Indiana Business Radio on Demand.